Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thanks everybody for being here. I'm not even going to look to see who was first. Right, Lydia Washington? I'm not even going to look. Uh, because I looked already. Okay. Hey, Elaine Parker. You must have took a nap today. What are you doing up at this hour? But anyway, thank you so much for being here. Wait, it's like what, 6 8? Nope, it's about 4 a.m. Am I correct? It's about 4 a.m. Because I think there's like a 6 hour difference for us. Hi Terry H, Tash Mac, Mama Jane, Faith You. Um, let's see. Is it Leela? Leila? Shadows Mom, Deborah Robinson, Gwendolyn Daniels. Okay, let's get started, shall we? Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. The Sussex's secret weapon. Ooh, Harry and Meghan's secret weapon. Um, well, it's not much of a secret. Oh, what is it? 4:25 a.m. Oh, okay. Very good. Um, the secret weapon is so secret I can't tell you. All right, let's get on with it. So this is where we left off yesterday. Craig Fergus is the new Speaker of the House of Commons in Canada. We learned that yesterday. For those of you who did not finish up, that is the stunning news that we heard yesterday. There is going to be some representation in the House of Commons. Of course, when I say that, that is for all of the children of color who don't see themselves in spaces like that often, if ever. Just imagine how many people here in the United States have lived and died and never believed that one day that there would be a black president of the United States or a woman vice president for that matter. And of course, you can go right down the line. There has been so many firsts in my lifetime that I celebrate all of those. Okay. Oh, MR, thank you so much for the super, actually for the super cash app. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Hello, Judy Mutasid, Deborah Robinson. I think I said hi already. Marjorie. Okay. Legs. Very good. All right. So there you go. Now, this was a photo that's been making the rounds today. Someone put this on their Instagram, and it's one of those photos from the Invictus games, one of many that have been trickling in. I have this one and another one that I found, but I don't mind sharing it because I'm just not ready to let go of that good feeling that I have about the Invictus games. Um, yeah, I don't want to lose my buzz. Nobody, please don't kill my buzz. Classy LaCroix. Okay. That is a very impressive, what do you call it? Um, um, you know, picture. It's not an avatar, right? What do we call those? Anyway, profile picture. That is very, very intense. I feel like I could part the Red Sea. Elaine Parker, thank you for the super sticker and thank you for being here. And well, I worked on that project. Hopefully, you'll be able um, to chat without using super stickers or super chats or super. Well, you know what I mean. But yeah, so I tried to fix it. So let me know how it works out for you. And thank you so much for the super sticker. But yeah, I was one of the things I worked on not long ago. Someone sent me an email, a message with the correct address or whatever. And so I did my best to fix it. If it doesn't work out, let me know. We'll try to do something else. Oh, Black Jesus. Well, you mean Jesus, because everybody knows Jesus was black. Yes, he was black. He didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes. Not very likely from that area of the world, but thank you so much for sharing that. Uh, oh, we're good? Okay, I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, it looks like you're all okay. Very good. Yeah, well, thank you for being persistent. That means a lot. All right, so, and here's a close up because as much as I like to celebrate everybody who had something to do with the Invictus games, I'm just really there for my faves. And of course, for the brave soldiers and veterans with their struggles, they are paramount. They are the ones that come first. And the superficial side of me says, I'm really here for those too. Anybody who can get Harry into some very cool threads like that is definitely worth celebrating. So, okay. And here's the other photo on the left side, working as a team, preparing for our races, and great experience in meeting idols, Meghan and Harry. Well, that was very nice. That's very nice. I love that. And this is just another random of Meghan. And then take a look here. So grateful for such an incredible September. Oh, by the way, this caption, I think I did that wrong, but this caption goes with this photo. That's what's supposed to happen. So that's out of place. So let's go back to the caption for this photo. So grateful for such an incredible September, whether it was the honor event at the IFA, the product forum at the IAA, the IG23, the Invictus Games, mega shows, IFA with performances by Macklemore and Rita Ora, as well as the personal encounters with the really sympathetic and approachable Prince Harry and the super impressive Gen Z Reaper, whatever that is, Bond, Reaper Bond. Oh, yeah, Reaper Bond. Ugh. Opening, RBF. Oh, these hashtags are killing me. That was a month of innovation and creativity, impressive shows with enthusiastic audiences, and moments filled with emotions. Wow. I see it as a wonderful privilege to be able to join these live events as a show caller, show director with these fantastic teams. Hashtag crew love. There were no problems, only common effective solutions. Respect to all. Well, there you go. That was what was in the Instagram today. Okay, and moving on. And then right here, did you know that the Invictus Games Foundation doesn't actually organize Invictus Games? We select the host city and work with them to ensure the successful delivery of the games. So be sure to go follow at Invictus Game 25, the IG 25, for all the latest news on IG 25. So that was something that came up maybe a week ago was, how do they select the people? And I attributed the um, images that we've been getting from people behind the scenes to being the local people that have been recruited or hired or volunteered to put everything together. And that seems to be the case. So um, I believe what Germany is a country of about 80 million people. Um, and these are the people that may or may not be Germans. They may actually just work in Germany. They may maybe not, but whatever. But that's how they do it. They find the host city, and then it's up to them to put on the show with the advisement and likely some consent from the Invictus Games Foundation. So that is how that's put together, which makes a lot of sense. It seems very likely. So I guess what I'm trying to say, not if, but when the Invictus Games go to perhaps Kenya or Nigeria or something like that, it'll be interesting to see the behind the scenes people there, because it doesn't seem to be a lot of diversity amongst the people that we see in the photos. And I imagine that's because, for the most part, Germany is still a very, very white country. So that is probably a factor. So I'm hoping to see that, because it would mean a lot to me to see more diversity with the Invictus games. So with that being said, it'd be interesting to see how it is in Vancouver and Whistler. But yeah, so there you go. Now, those students don't appear at all interested, not really surprising given George's exams will make absolutely no difference to his life, while theirs will help shape their career, while looking forward to paying for George. Yeah, that is something to think about, is that these kids that are sitting here listening to Kate and helping her secure this photo op, they're listening to her drone on about God knows what, and politely trying to appear enthusiastic, or at least interested, mildly interested in what she has to say. Um, that being said, uh, that is a point, because how much good did the education William received do for him? William, he doesn't seem to know much about the world, and pretty much lacks any type of intellectual curiosity about the world. When it comes to doing those trips abroad, he seems rather clueless, which, if the reports are correct, would explain why the government hasn't gotten back to him about going on a tour somewhere. They are not good away from the country. They're not really that good while they're there. They're pretty predictable while they're there. Find a table, have people gather around, or maybe sit around at a conference or a cafeteria table someplace. Go about and ask questions to people sitting at a computer, or flipping a hamburger or something like that. It's also routine, isn't it? No wonder they themselves look bored, Will and Kate. And then, of course, pick up a ping pong paddle and play a little table tennis. Or it's always predictable. There's nothing ever so interesting about it. But the photos are enough to, I guess, bring some interest to the tabloid papers. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's so routine. But then again, yeah, it's predictable. So Matt Wilkinson says, listen to Princess of Wales with six form pupils in Cardiff speaking about George's math revision. She said George is just at the beginning of being tested. He says, "Mommy, I keep getting tested all the time, but when it gets to A level, you feel like you're on it." Did he really? Okay, y'all. Okay. Leg says, that's cousin It's wig. that cousin it wig isn't doing it a bit much. Uh, Wait, let me see who cousin it is. I think I remember cousin it. Oh my god. Okay, that's cousin it. Oh man. Wait a minute. A rare photo showing cousin It's face on the set of Adam's Family. All right. All right. Okay, now you know I'm going to have to use that in the future. That is for a oh, cousin It. Yes, I see. Now, yeah. Oh, well, okay. At this point, of course, I have to share. I have to share cousin It. I just do. Pardon me while I bring up cousin It for those of you who are unaware of cousin It. I guess I was more of a Monsters fan than I was the Adams Family. Although I know the song, I never really watched Adams Family. But oh my god, this is epic. This is epic. I love it. Oh, okay, okay, okay. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna share. Give me just 1 second here. All right, and that, and that, and that, and enters cousin It. Okay, let me grab cousin It here. There we go. Yeah, for some reason, if I don't do this early, then later on I'm not able to just bring up another slide like that, which is weird. But okay, so on the left, that was like a rare image of cousin It while they were filming, uh, with the hair pulled back. But most of the time, cousin It was just depicted as this mass of hair. And yes, I can see. I can see the resemblance. Uh, Understand cousin It either. Siblings, right, right. Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, my face is hurting from smiling. Okay, let me fix my face. Oh, but yes. I forgot who cousin It was. I remember the name, but I didn't remember the actual character. Oh my god. Okay. Yep. Surely they're related at some point. Oh man. Yeah, I am kind of seeing the Afghan Hound. I am. I get that one too. Okay. So now it's hard to not see it. You know what I mean? And Celebici, who I just absolutely love. There's a would you call it a vlog or blog page? Celebici. They do news and they do a lot of royal news, and they are adamant that Kate has been wearing wigs, extensions, and then of course some really bad hair pieces. Um, but yeah, I think it's well. and this is not a slight on her as a person, but I think it's out of hand. Um, it's too much. It is too much. It The volume of it, uh, it's as though it's projecting in order to compensate, kind of like someone going through a midlife crisis, buying a sports car. It's at that point. It's a lot. And for someone who wants to identify with the typical English woman or British woman, or even the typical working mom, I mean, you don't have to not be glamorous, but that is very much a Hollywood look, isn't it? I mean, you don't see too many people um, in corporate America with that much hair, right? You don't see many people in any corporate environment with that much hair. So it is a bit out of hand. And I remember some time ago on on one of those, I forget which show it was, but it was definitely something from the UK. It was one of the morning shows or something like that. And the lady who was actually, a monarchist or a royalist or whatever, she was saying that it's time to go a little shorter than what she's been doing, and that was some years ago. So it is a bit much. It is a bit much, despite my super hypercritical opinions about William and Kate. I'm just saying, as a person, as someone who don't have any skin in the game where they're concerned, it's too much. It is a bit much. It's overwhelming. It's not good when your hair enters the room before you do. So that's it. The royal family's secret weapon. Well, that's one of the reasons why I titled this one The Secret Weapon, because that is a word that is thrown around over and over and over again. The royal family's secret weapon, Charles's secret weapon, Kate's secret weapon, William's secret weapon, the Queen's secret. It's always a secret weapon. Camilla's secret weapon. So I'm going to ask you guys to do a little exercise right now. Go to your Google and just Google what I Googled, royal family secret weapon, and you will find that dozens of articles pop up. And the reason why I say that is, take a look at this. All of those have secret weapon in it somewhere. All of them, they have secret weapon in it somewhere. The secret weapon to save the monarchy, the secret weapon for this, the secret weapon to do that, the secret weapon of this and that and the other. Is always a secret weapon. It's lazy on the part of the journalists, and I'm being generous by calling them journalists. It's really lazy on their part to even call any member of that family a secret weapon, because they use it over and over again. So, and all the stories, you can interchange the names or the situation, and they all read the same. Right, Lorna. 1970s Farrah Fawcett mixed with Disco Barbie. Only Farrah and Barbie had more brains. Absolutely. That's a reference to the hair, if you guys haven't caught on. But that is a reference to that voluminous, unnecessarily so voluminous hair. I think is okay. I'm gonna say Meghan has the right combination of a working hairdo and then the fun hairdo. That makes more sense to me. But if every place you go, you got this mountain of extensions and we know that on that one occasion, I promise you, Kate was wearing a wig. Not only because Celebitch pointed it out, but it was too perfect. It had to be a wig. And I just think it doesn't really speak to the women that she's trying to identify with. Okay, so that was it. That was all I had to say about the secret weapon. At your leisure, go ahead and Google Royal Family Secret Weapon, and you will find that there are so many stories about nothing in particular. So, the police investigation alleging Dan Wootton solicited explicit images. Well, as you may know, that has been dropped. I mean, not dropped, but that article has been removed. As a matter of fact, several articles have been removed. Peter Juke says here, oddly enough, the threats of Wooten's lawyers not send not sent to us. Okay, let me pull that down because I can't see it. Not sent to us actually confirmed the story. Just to note, this is clear. Now, slap, I forgot that what that means. Territory. No proceedings have been initiated against us, and contrast with Brand. I'm assuming that's Russell Brand. Oh well. We act for Dan Wootton. This is what the Mirror, the Guardian. This is what all of those newspapers received. We act for Dan Wootton. We refer to your message indicating an intention to repeat information published by Byline Times about our client. In Bloomberg, such and such, such and such. I don't know what that is. I guess that's their license for law or whatever. The Supreme Court made it clear that any person under criminal investigation has, prior to being charged, a reasonable expectation of privacy in respect of information relating to that investigation. In publishing our client's name this evening, Byline Times has breached our client's right in that regard. They will now face the consequences of doing so in court. Were you in these circumstances to do likewise, you would be joined in that claim as a defendant. Given this clear and unambiguous warning, you would also face aggravated and/or exemplary damages and a punitive order for costs on the indemnity basis. We would urge you to exercise restraint and act ethically. It's weird to use that word involving Dan Wootton, and in accordance with the law. And not just Dan Wootton, but GB News. Should you do otherwise, do not be surprised if you face the expense of litigation yourself. Ooh, ooh. Well, that was what I refer to as a strongly worded letter. Um, so there you have it. They decided to sell the wolf tickets, and the Guardian, among other papers, bought it, and so they yanked these articles off the interweb. Huh. I'm telling you, for a network that believes in freedom of speech, for a network who claims to be in pursuit of the truth, especially Dan Wootton, it's interesting how everything about him has been systematically suppressed. People have been frightened into silence, and they've gotten away with it. One of the earlier videos I made about Dan Wootton, they wouldn't monetize it. And it was the same thing with that sick old man, Andrew. When that story first got big about the settlement or whatever, there's a video I did back then. Even after I appealed it, they just would not have anything to do with it. They would not monetize it. So these little letters like this, I don't care how big the corporation, how big the company, whatever media group, a little letter like this does carry a lot of weight. They turn tail and run. So it's unfortunate, but and usually when that happens, it's in regards to someone who is in a very powerful position, someone who is either a public servant or someone in the media that are able to um, frighten so-called news organizations into dropping the story or moving on, taking it down, printing a retraction, but they don't afford that same consideration to the people that they target day after day. That being, of course, Dan Wootton, who is as cruel and malicious as they can be. And when it comes to him, everybody has to stifle. Everybody has better be silent now. Very interesting. Now, Laurence Fox and Calvin Robinson sacked by GB News. So I suppose they were only suspended before, but now they have been terminated. They no longer work for GB News. Last week, Laurence Fox warned the decision would open GB News up to complete destruction. Let's hope he's right. And maybe that is the point of it. As they said, that the incident itself wasn't so serious. I mean, being accused of misogyny didn't seem to be the biggest deal in the world, but it was a clever way to rid themselves of a much larger problem, that loose cannon, Dan Wootton. Now, um, if you've heard the term loose cannon, I explained it before. That is when on the old wooden battleships, the cannons have, just like any weapon, it has a recoil, and sometimes they would break loose and they'll go flying across the deck and smash into the other side of the ship. And sometimes they would literally breach the wall and of the side of the ship and end up rolling out the other side of the boat. Um, or it runs over the other sailors. I mean, the cannon's like going all over the place. The ship is pitching and rolling, and the cannons are flying about. So when you think about it like that, that pretty much describes Dan Wootton. You just never know who's on his good side or bad side. And of course, he, like after this incident where the Byline Investigate started dropping those articles, Dan Wootton went into a tailspin. And same with this situation with Laurence Fox. He went in to work and tried to throw everybody under the bus. He went in there and tried to convince everyone that it wasn't his fault. Oh, if you would have done this or done that, and you knew that this was going to happen. He literally tried to change the story where he blamed other people instead of taking the responsibility himself. He had several opportunities to either apologize for it immediately or pull it back. As GB News is not, um, that's not our sentiment here at GB News, and he could have said anything, but he didn't do it. He saw himself as untouchable. Judy says the people in charge has dirty laundry. Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing is one of one of the things that has been key to his survival is the fact that he tends to know a lot about the people that he work with. He knows a lot about people that he doesn't work with. And the reason why he got in trouble in the first place is because of the way he allegedly has gone about finding information about the people that he worked with or people in the industry, celebrities, reality TV show types and such, athletes. He tends to try to sift through their garbage, their trash cans, and find, figuratively speaking, of course, and find some kind of dirt that he could use against them. Um, and still, we don't know how he got the information about the Sussex Liz leaving, but upon finding out, he threatens a member of the royal family, or members of the royal family, rather. He threatens them to either tell it themselves or I'll do it for you. You got 10 days. Now that takes of a lot of what do you call it? You have to be really sure of yourself to do something like that. I'm trying not to say anything crude, but you have to you have to be really sure of yourself to say something as bold and arrogant as you got 10 days, like it's some old Gary Cooper movie or something. But thank you so much for your super chat, Judy. Now, the dime store deacon, Calvin, wait, what is his name? Just that fast. Calvin Robinson. Calvin Robinson. I tell you, he's got the right name. I mean, that sounds like someone I grew up with. Calvin Robinson. Very, very much like someone I may have gone to school with or something. He looks like someone I may have gone to school with. I mean, he's got the look, he's got the name, but in his heart, he is this very right wing individual that is in dire need of attention. He loves attention. He's been seeking it for a long time. And the whole thing about being a clergy, okay, so he's not ordained. He's not ordained. And I forget how that all came about, but there are people who do not really consider him as actually being a clerical person. But as you know, it anybody who decides they want to preach can call themselves whatever they like. Um, I'm always concerned about how many bishops there are in my neighborhood. I have seen churches that can only seat about 30 people, and they've had two bishops, um, a pope, all kind of stuff. So in those little small storefronts, so I can't really say anything because I don't know, a couple of people I went to school with, I think, is a bishop right now. Um, but that's another story. I oh, I don't think we could fit all the bishops in my neighborhood in my living room right now. That's how many we have. But I digress. Anyway, so Calvin, who has been accused by, well, actually, in his words, I don't know that it really happened, but this is what he said. He said that there was a letter going around the Church of England, I suppose it was, accusing him of being a pimp, a honest to goodness pimp. And while I can say, yeah, I think that is a slight on his ethnicity. I just don't see him as being a pimp. Um, he's a little bit too square for that. I mean, he's about as intimidating as a glass of milk. He's about as manly as Uncle Arthur on Bewitched. I mean, I just don't see him as as being a pimp, and that was unfair to refer to him as being a pimp. Although I don't know what led to that assertion, but that is what they called him. So Royal Sussex has actually done some digging, and we here at Royal Sussex, we have tried desperately to find any evidence that Calvin Robinson may at some point in his life actually have been a pimp. And this is what we found. Now, just because of the rather bizarre fashion taste does not mean that he was actually pimping it. It doesn't mean that he was actually a pimp. Maybe he's just fashionably challenged, but that in no way is an indictment or confirms his pimpiness. That is just merely a rather odd choice of labels to wear, but I don't suppose that YM Joy says that's Bishop Don Magic, con artist of Pound Town. Thank you so much for this super chat. But yeah, so this was all the evidence that we could find here at Royal Sussex. But again, this in no way means that he actually has worked in such a career. It's just a weird coincidence that in combing the social media, we were able to come across these images. It means nothing. Um, and I'm sure that if you ask him, he'll tell you, I have no recollection of ever wearing those clothes or carrying a cane and walking stick or whatever, smoking a cigar, wearing a dollar bill necklace and fanning out hundreds. I'm sure that that won't that's not, you know what I'm saying? It's probably AI. Hello, Adrian Burrow. Pimp. It's getting hard out here for a pimp. It is. It is really getting hard out here for a pimp. As a matter of fact, it's getting so hard out here for a pimp that Calvin Robinson has actually waged a fundraiser. Cosplay cleric Calvin Robinson has a fundraiser. He has one of those crowdsourcing, or what do they call it? Well, anyway, it's not the GoFundMe, it's one of those other ones. But his goal is to raise £30,000. So far, he's raised £11,775. And I think most of that was just today. So he says that he is renting a flat in London, that he isn't, he doesn't make a lot of money, I suppose. And he's very upset about being terminated from the GB News. And so, for that reason, in order to help keep a roof over his head, is pretty much what he said, that he needs to raise money. And if you would like to offer a donation or a prayer, or a donation and a prayer, he would greatly appreciate it. So if you guys are feeling sympathetic for his situation, then you can certainly donate your hard earned money to his cause, to keep himself in his London flat. He said, I rent a flat in London, et cetera, and help me out. That's what he was saying. So I'm not going to play the audio, but gosh, that's a nice microphone. I think that's one of those Shure microphones. I got that little bargain mic from what's that place, from Amazon. But yeah, when you see those microphones, that's like, oh, how much those cost? Let me see. Shure microphone. Well, you can get them as low as $179. I see one for 400. Okay. Yeah. So not all of them are that expensive, but still, I think I paid $30 for mine. Yeah, I got the cheapest thing they had. It comes with a stand, but I don't use it anymore because that broke. It has a tabletop stand, and then it has that arm that reaches out like that. And my arm is broken, so I'm relying on a tabletop stand now. So anyway, you guys, it is getting hard out here for a pimp. Or I'm not that he's a pimp. He's not a pimp. According to him, he is a member of the Church of England, or a unordained cleric of some sort. But whatever he is, he's asking for your donations. So look past the accusations of pimping and consider him just a person who has fallen down and in need of a handout instead of a helping hand. Wait, did I say that right? Yeah, I guess he needs a handout. Oh, I wonder what Mrs. Bucket from Keeping Up Appearances would say about Vicar Calvin. Oh, Hyacinth. Yeah, Hyacinth would probably not have him over for one of her candlelight suppers, I'm sure. The indoor outdoor candlelight buffet. Wait, the indoor outdoor candlelight supper, and oh man, it was the indoor outdoor candlelight supper and something dinner buffet. But yeah, I loved Hyacinth. Okay, so that's that, you guys. Let your conscience be your guide. I am not likely. Oh, there it is right there. So called religious man begging for money, not out of genuine need, but a desire to score political points and gain further attention. He wasn't canceled. He slagged off his employer online, and but it is all, but it now acting surprise. That the employer decided to terminate his contract. Here's the reality, Calvin. Anyone who slags off their employer in a public sphere will face consequences for it. You aren't and shouldn't be a special exception. Absolutely pathetic. So that was Lisa Wade, who has a blue check mark. That was her opinion about it. And then over here on the right side, you can see what happens to people that call him out. A bunch of journalists and other public people that have called him out have found themselves on the business end of a blocking button on the Twitter. So he blocked her and a few other people. So that's what you get for calling out the dime store deacon, the the what do you call it? The what was that other thing they called him? Oh yeah, the cosplay cleric Calvin. Oh, but you know what? I think there is some merit to that accusation about him doing this for attention. I don't think that it's about the money, although who doesn't want 30,000 pounds? I see it as securing a future amongst the right wing. They are always looking for someone who is loud and outspoken. So, because he's certainly not, he's not a ignorant person. he does have enough sense to be in the position he's in right now. So why would you publicly do something like that unless you wanted to get fired? And it just seems to me like he was looking for a termination. Let me see. Oh, good morning to you too. Let's see. And his mod squad. Oh, there we go. Uh, and the mod squad, and of course, all the other squaddies around the world. All right. Well, thank you so much, Guten Morgen, and Dankeschön. Okay. He thinks. Oh. He think he is the Reverend Ike of years ago. I remember Reverend Ike. Yeah, Reverend Ike. Reverend Ike is kind of like that comedian George Wallace. I mean, when you think Ike, you always think Eisenhower. Certainly not, Reverend Ike. Kind of like with the comedian George Wallace. Sometimes George Wallace would open his show by saying, "Now, my name is George Wallace. That may come as a surprise to some and a disappointment to others." Because there's George Wallace, the comedian, and then there's George Wallace, the controversial and, dare I say, racist governor of, what was he, Alabama, Mississippi? He's the man who said segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever. That was until somebody bust a cap in that behind. And after he got an attempt on his well-being, then all of a sudden, oh boy, I tell you, I don't know that there has ever been anybody who loved black people more than him, except for Martin Luther Williams. I cannot think of anybody else who ever loved black people as much. All right. Well, thank you so much, Judy. And continuing, GB News, the grubby tales of Desperate Dan and a slide to the right. This is interesting because this seems to be something that is a trend amongst certain people, especially and shockingly. You know how you might have someone like what is her name? The Auntie Ruckus, the one that married that English aristocrat, Candace Owens. You know how you have a Candace Owens who have benefited from affirmative action, benefited from the NAACP intervention. That same Candace Owens all of a sudden made the mad dash to the right. Well, in this case, it says here, wait, where is it? There we go. According to Wootton's ex-partner, Alex Truby, the GB newsman arrived here with strong center-left politics. He was always so proud that one of his first breaks was interviewing Helen Clark when he was a Labour Prime Minister. When she was a Labour Prime Minister in New Zealand. Truby told journalists on the Byline Times, Dan comes from a family of liberal people. His family are educators. When I knew him, his politics were the same as theirs. When Wootton moved to when he moved to GB News in 2021, his drift rightward accelerated early debate shows usually degenerated into awkward rows with Wootton's catchphrase, "You lefties," featuring prominently. And that's interesting because you could say the same thing about a Russell Brand. And increasingly, you could say the same thing about Bill Maher. I cannot watch Bill Maher anymore. Bill Maher always was able to give you something thought-provoking, something a little more, shall we say, left of center. Sometimes he would go a little bit right of center to make a point. Now Bill Maher is doing the work of the right wing. And that is very disappointing. I stopped watching Bill Maher when I saw him giving aid and comfort to Donald Trump by repeatedly having people like Kellyanne Conway on his show. And you could see, this is why I keep telling you guys, these talk shows are theater. Those panelists are performers. Even the people that you feel like you know, they are still putting on a performance. They are presented with a idea of what the conversation is going to be. They're not coming up with those facts and figures and statistics off the top of their heads. And of course, all of them have a certain point and they won't go much further than that. On occasion, you will have someone that would breach that agreement. And of course, they may never have them on the show again, or, you know, but it's always someone who will breach that agreement. There's a few people who will, stay and fight their corner. And then there are some that just go along with it and get that paycheck and go home. And I was very disappointed by that because Kellyanne Conway would get all of her talking points in, and then there would be this very passive pushback from Bill Maher. And then all of a sudden, well, let's go on to the next segment. And that was it. They've done that on The View many times. They do that a lot. And just think of how many times you've seen Donald Trump on television before the 2020 election, rather, and how many times, I'm sorry, it was 2016 election, right? Yeah, 2016. And how many times did you see him get all of his points across, no pushback, no challenge, and then he's gone? And the ratings were going through the roof because they wanted the ratings. So to get those ratings, you don't really challenge the person. You don't get anywhere with those talk shows. It doesn't move people's opinion in one way or the other. It's very rare that someone has made such an error that it changes things. So that's why I don't bother with it. It's all part of the pre-agreed conversation. Is That's what it is. Let me see. Right, right. I don't fool with it. It's too stressful. I find all of a sudden I feel like I'm like my esophagus is closing in on me. uh Shirley Kearney says, remember he was in love with a was it a black woman, the governor? Oh wait. Oh, uh yeah, he did change after that. No, I don't remember the thing with the black woman. I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't remember that. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was a politician. Politicians always gonna play to their base. I mean, look at Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham was so anti-Trump, and Trump is going to be elected again, and he's going to be president. Then they got some dirt on him, or her, or them, or they. Okay, moving on, moving on. Laurence Fox arrested by police after dramatic house search video. The Met confirmed to the Mirror that police officers had arrested a 45-year-old man on suspicion of conspiring to commit criminal damage to the ULEZ cameras and encouraging or assisting offenses to be committed. Well, he did say in a video that he was willing to do damage to public property. And so, for that reason, he was arrested. And also, not only was he arrested, he they did a search and seizure on his flat. So not a good look for him. But they say he comes from a good family, a very well-to-do family, and for that reason, he'll probably be okay. He doesn't seem to be at all concerned or worried about his situation in the least bit. So, um, yeah, he'll be okay. He will be okay. Um, if it was the deacon, I would say, okay, now he better worry about something because everything changes. But let me see here. That was almost a disaster. I'm looking for my soundbite I wanted to play. The only way to deal with this, be it tearing down ULEZ cameras. Okay. I got it ready. All right, so there you go. There's the search of his flat. Oh, you're talking about Bill Maher. Yeah, I knew about Bill Maher and the black woman. I thought you all were talking about George Wallace. I'm like, George Wallace? Oh yeah. Yeah, Bill Maher. Yes. Bill Maher has dated black women before, and I know he donated $1 million to Barack Obama's campaign, which, as I say, is so strange how he has gone so right. um and again, they tend to do that when they're in trouble or when they suspect that there's trouble. Like, for instance, look at Russell Brand. Look at how he has made that mad dive to the right wing. It's a thing that they do. It's a thing that they do. Part of it is the anger of that minority of people in the population, and the MAGA people, they are a minority. They're loud, they're vocal, they're well financed, but they're a minority. And people gravitate to them um, because they're angry, because they're displeased, they're unhappy, and for sure they want someone to fight their battles. And so you have someone like a Bill Maher, who increasingly seems to do nothing but put down people on the left to downplay the abilities of people on the left. He goes after the Democrat Party and he gives comfort and consideration to the right wing, to the MAGA people. Uh, yeah, yeah, Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas, I saw him on 60 Minutes years ago, and he said that he doesn't even have his diploma out where people can see it because he's not happy about having graduated college or university because of affirmative action getting him through the door. Affirmative action was made to do exactly what has been done for the European people in the United States for years, and that is give them the edge, to give them a hand up, to give them the help that they need. They can come from the poorest of backgrounds, but because of their skin color, they could, expect the world. As long as there's that permanent lower class, that permanent racism to secure their position, then yeah, as long as you're not one of them, we'll help you. And that's just the way it's been. Like with the GI Bill. The GI Bill wasn't meant to help the black GIs, it was for the white GIs to be prosperous, to go to college, to get a home loan and such. That wasn't meant for black people. And so to make sure, they left it to the people in the bureaucrats, if you will, in the individual states and cities and counties to distribute the money, and very little of it went to black people. So, classic tale. Kellyanne Conway lost her husband and is going through a divorce because of her love for power, the far right, and Trump. Her husband detests the Orange Menace, and they had big fights over Trump. Yeah, yeah, that Waylon Flowers and Kellyanne Conway. She looks just like that Waylon Flowers and Madame Doll. Looks just like that doll. Um, yeah, Kellyanne Conway. I would just turn the television. I would always hope that somebody would push back, and even on The View, they just let her talk. She was able to get all of her points in, everything that she needed to help Trump. And Trump celebrated her on election night like nobody else. He said that she would go into the lion's den, that she would go into every enemy territory. And she did. He owes a lot to Kellyanne Conway. Joy Amort, thank you so much for the super sticker. Okay, so I am going to go to the next slide. There we go. So, in hindsight, it probably wasn't the wisest to admit to planning the removal of the ULEZ cameras and encouragement of others to be the doing of what anyway. You get it, to do the same. And so there he is. He made a video before the arrest. This video, I don't know when he made the video, but this was before, where he's sitting on the sofa waiting for the police to raid his house. Is this theater? Is this real? Is this some kind of contrived, made up thing to bolster his image, just like Calvin sounding off? Hello, M. Covington. Thank you for being here. And Roseanne Campbell, thank you for being here. But yeah, it just seems like they wanted to, like he and Calvin, the cleric of the Crusaders, it seemed like they just wanted to be in trouble, to get the attention. It just seems like they wanted to do that. Wasn't that they had to do it, or that they were acting out of some impulse to right or wrong. No, it was nothing like that. I think they are making a name for themselves. They probably knew what was coming. Monte Cristo says less than 2% of the GI Bill went to black military servicemen in some southern states. Yes, the state it was discovered 0 loans were made for black servicemen. You're absolutely correct, man. Thank you, Monte Cristo. Thank you for that information. Okay. Oh, so let me. I got to play my sound bite. There we go. Almost forgot about that. All right, this sound bite. I got it all queued up and ready to go. So you can hear him.
On every single camera there is, and I will be joining them to tear down cameras as well, because I have to. I'm one of those people that puts my money where my mouth is. So I'm pretty close with several, and I will be. Yeah, I'll be out there with my angle grinder. I would encourage mass removal of the surveillance state, because once it's there, you cannot remove it. I would be happy to be arrested myself. So, you know, I won't be, when I go out and take their cameras down, which I will be doing, I will be taking my phone with me, so they know exactly where I am. I would happily sit there and sit in court and go, who voted for this? What's your evidence for the Outer London Clean Air Zone? What's your evidence for that? Why are you doing this? You know, I'd sit there and do it, but I do that. I've got, you know, several court cases going on, as you know. But yeah, I would.
Okay.
The only way to deal with this, be it.
So he says that he will tear down the cameras himself. He encourages other people. Now, those are, I suppose, those surveillance cameras. There's a fee. If I'm correct, I think there's a fee that is charged against any motorist that is traveling in a certain area at a certain time. Now, what I heard years ago, a statistic that the average person in London is filmed or photographed 200 times a day whenever they leave their home. Up to 200 times a day, you are photographed or recorded. London is surveillance city, right? More so than most places, I would imagine. And it has been effective in solving crimes. It has been very effective with that. Um, it also gives people a certain sense of security, knowing that there's so many cameras about. Um, People that are more interested in their privacy may feel otherwise, but they have a lot of them. And then if that's not enough, they have cameras that read license plates, and you are charged a fine if you're driving in certain areas that are very congested. It's a way to try to reduce the traffic, of course. Some of the streets in the UK are very narrow and such. So I could understand that they would encourage people to use public transportation rather than to drive places. And there's a lot of people who are just fed up with that. So I believe that those cameras are for that, are the ones that he's talking about, but or maybe just cameras in general. But yeah, so that's what happened. That's why he got in trouble. I would happy I would what is that? I would happy to be arrested. Anyway, that's the caption. But yeah, so that's that. Now, spare, Prince Harry's spare is still um being reviewed by people. Uh this guy right here, Abdul Karim Abba Aminu, he says Spare is the memoir that captivated the world as Prince Harry told his story. Love it or hate it, it's a really good book. It's an important, even if inadvertently so, study in family dynamic, race, love, modern British society, and social justice. And then along the thread, he, um, you know, posted later on in that same thread on Twitter. I feel for him. He comes across as a genuine person. And then he also says, it was quite compelling to read his thoughts on so many things I've only imagined or wondered about. And he reminds me so much of his mom, or at least what the public knows of her. My conclusion, they did him dirty. Yeah, that's the easy way to put it. They did him dirty. Baron, when is something going to be done about the lies Sky News keep pushing? You mean Sly News? That network is filled with lies, lies, lies. It has to stop. Well, um, I don't think they're ever going to do anything about it. It's even worse when it comes to Sky News in Australia. Sometimes I have clicked on something that I thought was Sky News in the UK, and then I find out it's Sky News Australia. I don't care what they're talking about. I cannot watch it. I cannot watch it. Um, I used to love, and this is no slight to people from Australia, but I used to love Australian accents. Now it triggers me because I'm thinking that it's someone who is going after Harry and Meghan. And that's a horrible association to have because, like I said, I'm always charmed by anybody's accent. But now, if it's something coming across the airways, I'm always thinking that it's one of those morning shows in Australia. That what is that? The Sunrise Show, or the Australian Sky News, and they're sitting there with the skeptical tone and laughing and saying something sarcastic. I cannot stand it. And I used to watch all of those like documentaries and stuff from Australia. They would have like some really interesting news programs. And now I just can't. I just can't. I just can't. Um, I I saw one that was an Australian production, and so I switched it off and I searched on YouTube until I can find something about that same topic that was not an Australian production. That's how bad it is. I'm triggered because of Sky News Australia. And it's not to say that there aren't times where I watch some of the programs from the UK that I'm not, also triggered, but the maliciousness of Sky News Australia is horrific. So um, it must be worth it for the people that work in these industries, that work for these papers or television, whatever. It must be worth it for them to to receive their payments by 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 as far as I'm concerned, causing the downward spiral of Western civilization with lies and sarcasm, creating apathy where there should be none. That seems to be their bread and butter. Yeah, that's their bread and butter. It's a real shame because um, I guess the more that people look toward YouTube and other social media outlets for information, they look for certain channels on YouTube for information, then the old legacy television seems to have become nothing but a battlefield to see who could create the most negative, most vicious um, stories, the most salacious news stories, just to get a bigger portion of a pie that is shrinking. So they're fighting over less profits. They're fighting over less viewers than the old days before social media. But thank you so much, M. Covington. I hope the time comes soon when they will change their ways. But I am not holding my breath because right now they're still making money. Very valuable information. Roseanne Campbell says the ULEZ cameras read a car's license plate regulation. Let me do that again. Sip of water. There we go. Cameras read the car's license regulation plates if the car has a certain engine size, which they claim pollutes more. The owner is charged the fine. That's why the public wants those cameras down. Oh, so in real time, it looks up your license plate and determine what kind of car that you have based on the records available. And then they decide whether or not you have to pay a fine because your vehicle pollutes more than others. Okay, thank you so much for that. That is how that works. So it's not just reading the plate, but it is determining whether or not you're going to have to pay based on the engine size. Wow, I have learned something. Thank you. Okay. I thought so myself. I don't know. I don't know. It's always easier to decide what Rupert Murdoch doesn't own than to try to figure out what he does own. If it's something that is hateful, if it's something right wing, I just assume that it's Rupert Murdoch. Unless it's the Daily Mail, then I know it's Lord Nappyhead. But otherwise, Rupert Murdoch. By the way, this is Lord Nappyhead. He is racially ambiguous. Um, he hates the Sussexes. He has had his newspaper go after them just as bad as if, or just should I say, just as worse as if it was a Rupert Murdoch paper. But Rupert Murdoch does not own the Daily Fail. That is owned by Lord Nappyhead, a racially ambiguous individual who inherited a $1 billion fortune. So, Cruella Braverman. Cruella Braverman. The funny thing is, I have never, as far as I know, heard anybody refer to her as Cruella Braverman. And so I thought I was onto something, right? I said, that Cruella Braverman. And so I Googled it just to see if it really exists. And look at what I found. Look at what I found. I found this. So I suppose there have been people that have been calling her Cruella for quite some time. So I probably heard it and didn't think about it anymore. And then today I just like Cruella, although it just seems like something that would naturally evolve. Yeah, so there you go. Suella Deville. Suella Deville. Cruella Braverman, Suella Deville. I love that. By the way, I added the caption up there at the top myself, but otherwise it's just supposed to be Suella Deville. But anyway, I love that. That is a scream. As you can see, she's driving like a maniac. And I suppose those are pound notes that are flying behind her. And of course, that is our intrepid Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, hanging on for dear life. And the reason why I brought up Cruella Deville is because of this. Apparently, Cruella was at some dog show or something, and notice where she has her foot planted. She has her foot planted on what appears to be a service animal. Now, there is the possibility that the spike of her heel may actually be between the fur because the dog doesn't seem to be reacting. But then again, those dogs are trained to be as placid as possible, to be as unassuming, mild mannered. Um, so, although they will attack if you mess with their owners or companions or whatever, but that is strange. I mean, it just seems like that ought to hurt, but maybe not. Of course, maybe she stood there long enough that the tail has gone numb and dropped off later on that day. But ouch, ouch, ouch. It doesn't look good. Does she have a runner in her pantyhose? In her tights or pantyhose? Is that a runner she has? Oh well. Yes, she is wrong for that. Okay. And right here you can see this is an older photo that I have of Cruella. I love this photo. It is one of the more bizarre images of her. This is, I suppose, she's patrolling the English Channel or the Strait of Dover to try to run away as many people seeking asylum as possible. But yeah, she's one of the brown people that is, what is she, third in line to the prime minister or whatever, the second, third, whatever. But yeah, she's the home secretary at the moment, I believe. And her job is to make life difficult for anyone that looks like her or looks like me or and I'm just going to throw it in there one more time. It is not illegal to seek asylum. There's nothing illegal about seeking asylum. A migrant that reaches your country, your shores, your border, by international law has a right to seek asylum. So, in order to try to discourage people from coming, they are making this case that they're criminals and that they broke the law, they didn't enter the country legally. The thing is, when a person arrives and they seek asylum, then you're obliged to hear them out, to give them a chance to prove that their life is in danger if they're sent back to their homeland. Now, yes, there are other places between the United Kingdom and where most of the asylum seekers are coming from. And so their argument is, why didn't you stay in France? Why didn't you stay in Italy? Why didn't you stay in Greece? The thing is, they don't have to. Um, the United Kingdom, among other countries, including the United States, are signatories of the law, the international law that says that people have a right to seek asylum. And so the people at the southern border, they have a right to seek asylum. They're not just sneaking in. A lot of them would come through and then turn themselves over to the authority because of that law. Now, if you don't want that to happen, then change the law. Don't blame the people, change the law. But as long as it's lawful, stop calling them criminals. They're not criminals. Audrey Techner, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Or, in other words, do them like you're doing the people from Ukraine. Give them the work visas that they need, help them find a place to live. Do you guys remember when Cruella de Vil surfaced when she broke the tide? She put her head up above the wave and crashed the boat of those asylum seekers. Do y'all remember that? This is one of those illustrations from Cold War Steve. I love this one. It is like the serpent of the deep broke the waves to emerge through the ripples of the tides in order to smash the boat of the asylum seekers to make sure that they won't enter the United Kingdom. And of course, in the background, you can see the white cliffs of Dover. So yeah, that is Cruella de Vil, whose real name is Suella Braverman, by the way. That is Cruella de Vil, or Suella Braverman, destroying the vessel of the migrants, the asylum seekers. And of course, this is one that I've made. It's called Sualien. Sualien. This is that movie from the 19. Actually, I think that movie came out in what, 79? If you recall, Sigourney Weaver was attacked by some alien life form. They were supposed to be doing some work for some company that would explore space. And suddenly they came across an alien life form, and its attempt was to procreate. And then, of course, at some point, a second set of teeth pops out and tries to bite her. Have you guys seen that movie? There's a second set of teeth that are going to come out. So, I'm not exactly Cold War Steve, but I have my moments too. So, yeah, that's some of my reimagined artwork. Good night, Joy. Joy's leaving us. And of course, this is based on the actual movie, Aliens. You there? Now, I know it's hard to tell, but this is the original movie, and this is the one that I made. Once again, this is the movie, and this is the one that I made. I know you can't tell one from the other, right? uh, Vinny Blair, I'm hoping for the sake of that dog that it is the fur from the dog's tail that she is stepping on. I mean, uh, you know what I'm saying? It's possible that it's the fur from the dog's tail. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. But if not, ouch. Ouch. Face to face for the first time. Okay. Now, who just pinched my bottom? Prince of Wales jokes during Windrush event. Royal couple travels to community center in Cardiff to hear about experiences of people who immigrated from the Caribbean. Um, they were not immigrants. Weren't they part of the British Empire? Right? How could you be an immigrant if you. Wait a minute. Is that possible? Do I have that wrong? Do I have that wrong? The Windrush people, they didn't immigrate. As a matter of fact, they were requested to come over and help rebuild the British economy, and they were considered as part of the of how did the Queen say it? The family of nations, right? So, is that proper? Well, I know it's the Telegraph, so why wouldn't they use that language? But the hunk, as they have been trying to call him, the hunk, the incredible hunk. He says somebody pinched his bottom. Elena, off to work. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you, Monte Cristo. So they're not uh, migrants or immigrants. They didn't even need a passport, right? This picture or the last one? But yeah, they didn't even need a passport. So see how they're othering the people in that photo. They are being othered. Yeah, no one pinched his bottom. As a matter of fact, he probably had a flashback of that trip that he made to Poland, where he enjoyed a pulled pork sandwich. Yes, he traveled 1,000 miles to enjoy a pulled pork sandwich in Poland. Let me see. Hunk of what? Or did they mean chump? Or did they, I'm sorry, do you mean chump? Thank you, I enjoyed. Yes, the incredible chump. Yes, not the hunk, but the chump. The Windrush people were asked to come over and were promised citizenship if they helped to build the UK after World War II. And then the Home Office all of a sudden couldn't find any record. Some of those people lost their benefits and pensions because of the Home Office playing this little game. And I'm sure with all of the stuff that William came there to hear about, I bet you he didn't want to hear about that. I'm sure he did. That's incredible that nobody called him out while he was there. That is incredible. Thank you for your comment. Now, Rebecca, are you finished with that? Are there any seconds? Can I take the rest of that home? Rebecca English says Prince William lives up to his reputation as a royal hunk as scores of female fans queue up to hug him. Well, the thing is, it was just a bunch of pensioners. And okay, okay, that's it. I don't want to say anything bad about the people that were there, but it's not like that this was one of those things when the Beatles first came to America with all the screaming fans and stuff. This was a bunch of sweet old people in a home somewhere, a community center, should I say, that were probably given food and whatever else to be there and to meet him and everything. So, come on, y'all. According to GB News, the Prince of Wales has hired a new valet. The valet is thought to be acting as Prince William's personal attendant, whose duties include responsibility for his clothing and appearance. So, that, of course, is a thing that came out sometime, well, a few days ago. Oh, by the way, thank you, Wime Droid. I don't know if I did that. Some visit Jamaica and had a hard time returning back to the UK, stuck in Jamaica. Yeah, and they were actually doing those repatriation flights back to Jamaica, and then they stopped the flights during the tour of the Caribbean, the that thing where Will and Kate lost half the Commonwealth. Um, they said they were going to stop the flights. Let me see. Aussie cops have a computer in the car that reads the car's speed, registration, and what is that? River details from 3 miles away. No visual contact needed. Wow. Big brother. Big brother. Let me see. I thought it was a crude remark with elderly Black people. Most younger adults would not think of saying that in front of a white older folks like his granny, the Queen. These folks were used as props. Yeah, yeah, used as props, and that is vulgar to say that, referring to him as the hunk, while you have these older Black people embracing him. That is kind of tacky. Okay. I love this. Now, this tweet is from a squatty, but it was retweeted by a deranger. It says here, derangers, the UN building is the one with the flags. William is speaking at the Plaza Hotel. Well, I so the photo is cut off, but so you can't see the flags in front of the building. I mean, there is a flag on top of the Plaza Hotel, but the one on the left side, there are flags, but the photo is cut off, so you can't see it. But they were making fun of the fact that the derangers thought that William was having a speech at the United Nations, but the thing is, he was at the Plaza Hotel doing something totally different. But the derangers were doing their victory laps and celebrating like William was actually speaking at the United Nations. That is not likely to happen until Charles goes to join his parents at the St. George Chapel in the George VI crypt. Otherwise, William is not likely to have his day at the United Nations, although he would love to do that. And he's going to try to pretend like he did, but the truth is he hasn't, and he's not likely to for a long time. So, what's funny though is that this tweet was screenshot and then posted on a derangers thread, um, admonishing the squatty who posted this. But I'm just like, I don't, I'm not even sure that that's a deranger. I'm really not sure that's a deranger. This deranger has been, by the way, the other meeting that William had was in the Hudson Bay when he was shucking oysters or whatever. that was the other place that he met with people, was with his waist high. That was the other meeting that he took. He took a meeting with the oysters in Hudson Bay or whatever. So, and if you ask me, he got a better reception from this meeting than he did over at the UN with the Secretary General, who wasted 20 minutes with him, or at the Plaza Hotel where he announced the winners or whatever of his Earth flop. But yeah, this was really the best meeting that he had, was here shucking the oysters. I know, look at the crowd. Now, what is it with this obsessive hand holding? They may as well have right now on the floor. Now, the thing is, this is supposed to be a slight against the Sussexes, right? But one of the things that is so endearing about Harry and Meghan is that they are very tactile. They are very touchy and feely with each other. Every day is like a honeymoon for them. And then the other one, she just can't let him go. What's wrong with her? You do see that it is Meghan that is enveloped into Harry's embrace and not the other way around. He is the one clinging to her. He is the one who do not want to share her with anyone. So why are you claiming that Meghan is the one who's like hanging on for dear life when it's actually Harry that doesn't want to let go? Harry's very protective of Meghan in every situation. Um, there's Harry when he's with Meghan, and then there's Harry when he's not with Meghan. And he is very protective of his wife. And I don't care how bad people want to try to criticize them or criticize him about that. There are some people who have never had that level of protection. And I guess maybe they're just a little, salty about it. But, well, I just put it to you like this. If this is any indication of how things were in the early days of their relationship, then I can understand why they're together. And of course, if this is the way it is now, which of course it is, then that is what keeps them together. There's nothing wrong with being with someone that sees you, that acknowledges you, that for lack of a better word, worships you. That's just the way it is. They are connected, and everyone who has ever met them says the same thing. Tyler Perry says, if I can't have that, then I don't want it. So they waited a lifetime for each other, and now they're together and they're enjoying the fruits of their relationship. They have a partner for life, and some people are just turned off by that. And I feel sorry for the people who don't like it. I remember this one article that they had where this woman was a very successful, career driven woman who was divorced. She didn't have any kids because of her career. And then she found out that she had cancer. And she called her ex husband, and he was like, "Who is this?" Right? And you may have seen this article. If it rings a bell, let me know. And anyway, the whole point of the story was she looked at a photo of her mother from the 1950s, right? And her mother always smiled. Her mother always outdoors, always devoted to the family. I don't think her mother ever worked a full-time job or ever worked at all. The father was the breadwinner, and the family did everything together. Family was so important to her. And in the photo, that she shared. Her mother was looking, you know, up and smiling with the sun washing over her face, something that this woman has avoided her entire life. And she realized in that moment that what she thought was going to bring her happiness wasn't happiness at all. She had things, she was very successful, she had plenty money, but the one thing she didn't have was love. She did not have love in her life. She got a diagnosis um, that, you know, changed her life, but there was nobody there to share it with. And the one person she thought she was close enough to, you know, cry out for help didn't recognize her voice. Very, very interesting article. I wish I could find that article, but it was very interesting. And it's one of those things that really makes you stop and think about what's important in life. So if that article rings a bell, let me know. If not, it's okay. I'll see if I can find it and I will share it with you guys. But I think it was based on a book or you know, source from a book. But wow, that was powerful. That was powerful. Her mother was like looking up with her face up to the sun and did not care about the harsh rays of the sun or wrinkles or anything like that. She was just alive and happy to be. So, right here, the Duke of Edinburgh, in his role as patron of the Duke of Edinburgh Award, charity, speaks to students during a visit to Brighton Hove and Sussex Sixth Form College, Brighton East, Sussex, to hear from young people making a difference in their communities through the D of E. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Meanwhile, his hoochie mama wife and Duchess of Edinburgh is out there flashing that raw chicken leg at everybody in a leather skirt, looking like some bondage babe. Um, yeah. Meanwhile, that's all I can say is meanwhile, across town or elsewhere in the United Kingdom, his wife is out there flashing um, quarter chicken pieces at people. If you're going to do that, please, at the very least, you know, at least get some rotisserie chicken. Don't show us that raw, um, unwashed, um, what is that? Refrigerated gizzard still intact. Don't show us that. But as I pointed out yesterday, when she exited the vehicle, notice how she turned her body completely around to the rear so that she could flash her legs at everyone. I mean, you know that's somebody's mom, right? That is someone's mom. And yet she's out there flashing her legs at people. I am appalled. Yeah, I think that the floral print top is supposed to add contrast of some sort. Contrast to what? I don't know. But yeah. Yes, salmonella soaked raw chicken leg. That's right. Thank you, Ebony Unicorn. Yeah, that's salmonella industrial cut, plucked, um, hairless, raw chicken. Yes, unseasoned. Thank you. Unseasoned raw salmonella soaked. Rohini, you waited all this time to throw that out there. And the thing is, you cannot unsee it. That's the thing, is you cannot unsee it. Um, and of course, I believe that a lot of us in the squad have that photo or photos is photo from the taxi. But remember, that is the future queen, an English rose, etc., etc. That is the one that they have chosen. That's the chosen one. It only took 10 years of wearing down will to make it so. Now, of course, you all, as per usual, here at Royal Sussex, well, you know what I'm going to say. Here at Royal Sussex, you know, we reached out to Kensington Palace for comment.
Obviously, it'd be. I would love to have met her, and she's obviously she's an inspirational woman to look up to. Obviously, on to this day, and going forward and things. It is. It's a wonderful family. The members who I've met have achieved a lot, and very inspirational. So, yeah, I do.
All right. And so she does. Members of the family that have achieved a lot. Everyone that I've met, the members of the family that have achieved a lot. Girl, you already got the job. It's just the formality of the wedding. Gosh. Not that you counted, Rohini. Not that you've counted. It's one thing. It's one thing that you have that in your mental Rolodex, that you have committed that to memory, but that you have counted and cataloged and that you remember the outfits. Now that is extraordinary. That's going the extra mile. Yes, that's going the extra mile. Let's see here. What did she say? Cousin It, could you translate? Cousin It, could you translate? Well, what she said was, um, um, and 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 members of the family achieved a lot. Yeah, I do. That's what she said. You all are so bad tonight. Thank you so much, Legs. Oh, you have the hard copy. Okay. Well, it's best to keep it archived in case the Sussex Squad Detective Agency requires it. So the Countess of Wessex proves a leather dress can be a timeless investment at any age. Well, I'm wondering how far is she gonna go, because right now she's no spring chicken. So there she is, Sophie, 57. So this was what, last year, 2022. Makes a strong case in the $3,600, a 3,600 pound low design. Okay, well, I like the brown jacket, but the one on the right side, you know, you all, eh, it just, you know what I'm saying? That's a member of the royal family dressed up like she's about to whip someone. but but if you are going to wear leather at any age, take a look at Queen Letizia on the left side. Now that is a lovely look. See how much nicer that looks? That is nice. This is, that is not so nice, but that is a good look. That looks like somebody's mom who is still able to wear something, youthful, who can still rock that look compared to someone that is rather dumpy and matronly wearing something like that, as I choose my words. Oh, stop. My stomach is hurting. Stop, 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 stop. Oh. Give me a second. Oh, man. That snuck up on me. Jose Williams, that snuck up on me. Oh, man. I forgot about that. I surely did forget about that. Oh, I remember the safe word. Oh, man. Mm-mm-mm. Well, for you squaddies that are new to the Sussex squad, I know this might be a bit confusing, but for some of us that have been around for a while, we've had our fun, and one of these days, all will be revealed. All will be revealed, but for now, um, if 30% of what we're talking about makes sense to you, that's actually not bad. Oh, okay. So remember yesterday, I told you all yesterday, I said that Rambolina Edwina had this outfit where he was where them and they were channeling Joan Crawford in Mildred Pierce. And as you can see there on the left side, there's those shoulders. I told you. Now tell me that's not Mildred Pierce. Look at that big boxy shoulders. No way those are his real shoulders. And yet, look at how big the bottom, the pants, the trousers, if you will. Look at how voluminous they are. They are just huge. So it has the cinched waist and the rather blousy legs, and then he's wearing. I'm telling you, that is couture. You work it, girl. That is couture. That's a supermodel right there. Like says Ford Fiesta Escape, Ford Escape or Ford Fiesta, your choice. Upgraded and pimped her rims. With some spinners legs. She got to put some spinners on the rims. You have to put the spinners on there. But yes, thank you so much for that. So yes, as I mentioned yesterday, there is the red liner to the jacket. They took a page out of the Sussex playbook. If you all remember, on that day that the Sussexes ended their official royal duty, people noticed that the jacket that Harry was wearing had the same color green lining as the dress that Meghan was wearing. The cape dress, well, as you can see, there is the Wessexes, now the Edinburghs, and he has a red liner to his jacket. And of course, he's got those big Joan Crawford shoulders. I mean, any minute now, he's going to say, Vita, haven't I given you anything? Haven't I brought you everything money could buy? But that wasn't enough for you, was it? Now get out of here before I throw you out and your things with it. Get out of here, Vita, before I, well, you know what she said. So yeah, I would expect him to reenact a scene from Mildred Pierce with that outfit. Dumpy. The word you're looking for is dumpy. Dumpy. Let's continue. Okay, so is this okay, I just got 4 slides to go. I got 4 slides to go, so we're almost done. Well, it says here, people close to President considers McCarthy a fickle and unpredictable partner. When McCarthy met with Biden in person, he typically presented himself as a sober negotiator, clear-eyed, about to give and take of bipartisan governance. But then he would go out in public and brag about his refusal to bend on conservative demands, right? So behind the scenes, there is Kevin McCarthy pretty much having a good old time with Joe Biden. And then once he leaves, then he's pretending like he's, some tough guy. And then it continues at the bottom. It says, on a particular sensitive matter, McCarthy mocked Biden's age and mental acuity in public, while privately telling allies that he found the president sharp and substantive in their conversations, a contradiction that left a deep impression on the White House. So this is what I was saying yesterday, is that McCarthy got on very well with Joe Biden. As a matter of fact, they got on so well that that is why they didn't trust him. That is why his party, the Republicans, did not trust him. As you can see here, McCarthy, I'm done. Well, I learned something since yesterday, and that is that McCarthy, who I did not see as big an obstruction to the president's agenda or the Democrats as some other House speakers have been in the past. I remembered that, of course, he and Eric Cantor, Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan did become Speaker of the House, the youngest we had in a long time, and they didn't trust him. And then Eric Cantor, I believe he was the majority leader or majority whip or whatever it was, his position. I don't think he ever got a chance to be the Speaker, but they all seem to have in common reining in the lunacy that is the Republican Party. And for that reason, the hardliners did not trust him, or them, that is. So this is why I wasn't in the mood to celebrate yesterday, because I realized that as shallow as Kevin McCarthy may be, I'm more concerned about who they replace him with. So right here, you can see how cordial they are with one another. And I was depending on this, in spite of whatever he said in public, I was depending on this to help Joe Biden. But I have a little soundbite for you from The View. Just ignore Whoopi Goldberg and listen to what what's her name has to say. Hold on, let me get that soundbite for you. Oh, let me turn that on. And it explains everything. It is a 4%, thing that they made that came back to bite McCarthy in the behind. In other words, he sowed the seeds of his own destruction. Okay, I hope this is it. And I don't have it. That is strange. Wait a minute. Okay. Oh Lord, I don't have it. Well, anyway, the whole point of it is that McCarthy, it took 15 votes to get him confirmed as the Speaker of the House because the people in his party did not trust him. Well, in order to win their confidence and to get the vote, the hardliners, or the hateful eight as they have referred to them, they had him sign on to a rule that if only 4% of the party votes to get rid of him, which, I guess 4% was the hateful eight, but if only 4% of them want him out, then he's out. And so that's all it took was, just a minority of people to get rid of him. And probably all of them were the same people who didn't trust him in the first place. So they only agreed to make him the House Speaker if it would be easy to get rid of him. And that's exactly what happened. He agreed, and they took him on, and that is why he's out, is because of that. And he has no one to blame but himself, because if you are the speaker under those conditions, and given how volatile members of the party can be, then obviously when they got the first opportunity to kick you out, you're out. And so that is what happened to him, is that hateful eight. Oh, okay. I found a soundbite.
To become Speaker of the House. 15 calls over and over and over again. He finally got it because he made those deals with the devils. And I think, what people forget is the purpose of power. My friend Alicia Garza wrote a wonderful book called The Purpose of Power. The purpose of power is to empower others. The purpose of power is to help your country, to help your fellow man. That's the purpose of power.
Yeah. So the very first part about that is where, okay, here you go.
You did this to yourself. Stop blaming the Democrats. You did this to yourself.
I think that's the scariest part of it. He said, it's just this rule about 4% of your party being allowed to kick you out. Well, you agreed to that. That was never the rule before. It was the rule because you needed to do it to become Speaker of the House. 15 calls over and over and over again. He finally got it because he made those deals with the devils. I think, what people forget is the purpose of power. My friend Alicia Garza wrote a wonderful book called The Purpose of Power. The purpose of power is to empower others. The purpose of power is to help your country, to help your fellow man. That's the purpose.
Okay, so Monte Cristo says, don't forget John Boehner was not trusted because of his relationship with Obama. That's that one that used to cry all the time. These folks felt Joe Biden's party was going to save McCarthy from the MAGA folks he put in place to take him down. Yeah, you know what? That's probably what he was depending on, was that the Democrats would save him. But if he would have gone too far left, or should I say, if he had sided too much with the Democrats, then there would have been a larger group of people in the Republican Party looking to get rid of him. But they say this is the first time in history that they've ever dumped one of the sitting House speakers. And, guys, I understand how people feel about McCarthy. I'm still saying that we don't know what's coming next. We don't know who's coming next. It may be an even more decisive person. McCarthy lacked integrity, but I think he was still willing to help Biden. I don't need to like him as a person. I need him to help the Democrats. And even with this, he may have helped the Democrats because the Democrats are hoping to use this chaos to fundraise and to win elections, especially if there's a government shutdown. So I'm well beyond the stage where I need to like everybody in office. I just need them to um, go along with some of the things that I value. I mean, we don't have to have the same values, but some things that I would like to see enacted into law, that's what I'm more interested in. I don't care about the person. And one of the reasons why the Republicans keep winning is because they don't have any moral dilemmas with the character of the person. They want to win the elections. And so, for that reason, we got stuck with Donald Trump. So, I'm just saying it may be time to put away personal feelings and consider the big picture. Do like Camilla and play the long game. Um, you have to take the fight to the enemy. You have to sometimes get down in the gutter with them if you want to win. Um, yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all I have to say about the matter. I'm just interested in making sure that we don't get another Republican in the White House, because the days where we would have a George Bush Sr., I ain't talking about Junior, I'm talking about the Senior Bush. And I remember how everybody was ragging on George Bush's father, who I thought was a pretty honorable man, but people were so intoxicated with the youth and the charisma of Bill Clinton that George Bush's father, the first President Bush, was run out of office. And of course, I voted for Clinton. I wasn't going to vote for a Republican, even if it was his father. But some of the nasty things that they said about him. And then what happens? We get his son in office, and he was like an absolute nut job. I mean, he really did his best to turn the clock back. He was a very likable person. Everybody liked him. But in order to be president, he had to get in bed with some pretty awful people, with some terrible people. And all presidents do that at some point or another. All of those presidents have to, you know, give a pound of flesh here and there if they want to be president. Let me see. It was never going to work because Kevin was never really in control. Once the GOP had control, this was going to be a crap show. 2024 election is the only solution. Yes, Wanda, it was never going to work. That's true. It was doomed at conception. It wasn't meant to work, I suppose. They wanted that 4% to make sure that the first time they felt slighted, that they could get rid of him. So I just wish we could have got more out of him before he left. That's all. I just wish we could have got more out of him. And you guys that's worried about Joe Biden's age, don't. Joe Biden, as McCarthy said, Joe Biden is just as sharp as he's always been. The thing is, he's playing the expectation game, just like he did with Trump. Everybody thought Joe Biden was going to really blow the debates, and there was Trump all agitated and everything and unsure of himself, and Joe Biden was cool as a cucumber. And that's it. So let them criticize him all they want. They can do that. But when it comes to the debate, Joe Biden is going to handle his business like he did the first time. Ronald Reagan, everybody said he was dumb, but he played the expectation game. So, is this the last one? Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah, this is the last one. The son of the Marquise of Bath has revealed, by the way, this is a 2014 article, has revealed details of a race row with his mother after she suggested that his marriage to a half Nigerian. I wonder if that's the N word that she used. A half Nigerian woman would ruin 400 years of bloodline. The falling out between Viscount Weymouth, what is that? Salin Thine something 41, and the Marchioness of Bath was further divided. One of the country's most eccentric and colorful families, Lord Weymouth, and the heir to the Longleat, said the comments by his mother, Anna, resulted in him banning her from attending his wedding to Emma McQuiston. Am I saying that right? 29. And from seeing the couple's 11. I'm like, is that 2? No, 11-month-old son. So that, of course, is the well, now she's the Marchioness, right? Because his father died. So she's the Marchioness. She has the mother's title. But yeah, so since this article, his father has died and they have inherited the estate and everything therein. And yeah, and they're living happily ever after. She has modeled, I believe. She's had like a cooking show or something like that. But anyway, she works a lot. They both work a lot, and they're a very happy couple. And there she is on the cover of the Tatler. Emma Weymouth is now the Marchioness of Bath, a costume drama at Longleat. That must have been the name of the article. But yeah, so there you go. She wears a lot of ball gowns and stuff like that when she's doing these magazine shoots. They use the Longleat is their house, their estate. They use that as the backdrop for a lot of those photos, which is ideal. But yeah, there you go. So with that, you guys, try to find that article if you will. Maybe I'll do a video about it. Would you like that? Yeah, I'll do a video based on the article. Lorna Williams says, when a politician is running for office, they say what they have. I'm sorry, well, we have a budget deficit and we need cuts, but cannot tell me what cuts. We won't vote for them. Often they cut services for the low income. Oh, don't they love to go after the low income people? They love that. But yeah, the only way you can tell a politician is lying is if their mouth is moving. Remember that. A politician is always a politician. Some we like more than others, but they're all politicians. I think anybody that has sense wouldn't run for public office. So thank you, everyone. Good night to those who are about to go to bed. And good morning to those that are starting their day. Oh, Marchioness is right below a duke. Thank you for that. So what do they call him? If she's the Marchioness, what is he? The Marquise, right? The Marquise? The Marquise? Like, what's her name? Rose Hanbury. She's the Marchioness of Sandwich or something. No, not Sandwich. The Marchioness of that place. Yeah, got it. So, yeah, the Marchioness, the Marquise. Yeah, I saw one of those like renovation shows. His father seems to have had an affection for women of color. And so, like father, like son. Hey, Harry, once you go black, you never go back. Oh, Antoinette, I try not to share. I try not to share any of their accounts because I don't want to send people over to their accounts. But if you're on the social media, trust me, they'll find you. Oh, yeah. See, exactly. I saw one of the ladies that he was dating. Um, yeah, he was very eccentric. They're right. That is a very eccentric family. They tend to do things their own way. So it should be of no surprise to anyone his choice of a bride. Well, if and when I ever go back to the United Kingdom, I would love to go and visit Longleat. I'm going to tell you where you may have seen Longleat before. Do you remember that milk advertisement that Princess Anne's son, what was his name? Philip? Philip, no, what's their son's name? Anyway, he did a milk advertisement for a Chinese milk company. And there's a picture of him sitting outside on the lawn of some country estate. And the manor house in the background is Longleat. And the Chinese company did not ask permission to use Longleat as a backdrop in the photo, but they did it anyway. So they didn't even ask permission. So that's where you may have seen that house is on that advertisement for milk. Her father is quite well off. The second child is by surrogacy. She had difficulties after the birth of their son. I believe they came to the estates for the process. I could be wrong. Yes, her father was a pretty wealthy, well-off Nigerian man, if I remember, and her mother is the English person. Let me see. Monte Cristo says, Baron has me looking into another royal scandal. I did not know about this couple. Love. Okay, well, good. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I should do a video. But and you guys, I don't know. I can't believe I'm saying this, but there may not be a live tomorrow. If there is, it's going to be a very short one because I do need to organize my receipts. And that is going to be a lengthy process. And the longer I put it off, the worse it's going to be. I have things I need to label. And when I say things, I mean thousands of things. And I'm just like, getting all of these things and I use them over and over again. Sometimes when I'm, prepping, I can go right to a video that I'm looking for because I know I have it. So I need to take the time to do that. So if there is a live tomorrow, it is going to be short and it's going to be earlier rather than later. So it won't be the usual, I usually have about 40 slides that I work with. It definitely won't be anything like that. Maybe it'll just be one topic and then we'll be done. But I got to get this stuff organized because I got to do. I'll put it to you like this: I have to go back to the month of April and work my way back to September. How's that? Gosh, I wish I could hire someone to do it. But yeah, I'm going to have to go back to the month of April and then work my way forward. So that is not going to be fun. But again, the longer I wait to do it, the worse it's going to be, or I'm going to start losing things that I need. And like, for instance, today, we've had a little fun with Calvin Robinson, right? And the thing is, somewhere in the future, or I might make a video or something like that, but somewhere in the future, I'm going to need to reference Calvin Robinson again. And when the time comes, I won't be able to find this. Yes, when the time comes, I won't know where it is. So that's what I have to do is I have to organize these things. I have to label them with the names and such. And that is going to be at least a couple of days. And I hope that I can get everything done in a couple of days. Let's see. What's that? First time I've caught you live and you're 2 hours. Oh, yeah. 2 hours and a half. Not just 2 hours, but 2 hours and a half. I always wondered to myself, what in the world did I talk about for 2 hours? Peter Phillips. Yes, that's his name, Peter Phillips. Oh, really? Wow, that's interesting to hear, but thank you so much. Okay, so with that, you guys, we'll see how it goes, all right? We'll see how it goes. Okay, so as usual, our last word of the day is, let me find something. I'll find something, the last word. Okay. Oh, I know a good one. Yeah, this one, nah. Wait a minute. No, I don't like that one. Oh, okay. I think I know. Okay, you guys ready? Now, this is the last word of the day. No, not that last word, Rohini. Unseasoned. Okay, here goes. God didn't add another day in your life because you need it. He gave it because someone else out there needs you. That's it. You didn't get another day for yourself. You got another day because there's someone out there that needs you. Amen. All right. So, with that, you all, thank you, moderators. Thank you for your generous contributions, everyone. Also, thank you for liking and sharing. Please, 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 if you have not subscribed, get off of your television, go to your tablet or your smartphone and subscribe to Royal Sussex. It helps out a lot. I cannot tell you how much it helps, but it does help out a lot. It drives the algorithm. It helps more people find the channel. And for the hate listeners and derangers, please make sure you share Royal Sussex with all of your friends. Tell them how I'm always laughing and ringing that flipping bell, and my chair is always squeaking and stuff. Tell them about that. The grunting, the coughing, everything, warts and all. Make sure you share it and tell them to subscribe to Royal Sussex so they too will have someone to gnash their teeth about, to sit up all night waiting for me to be paraded around the various realms of the United Kingdom with people throwing, what do you call it? Godiva chocolates at me. Yeah, Godiva chocolates at me. Something I like, right? But yeah, that's it. So do that, you all. And with that, you all, let's go ahead and celebrate our queens, Diana and Doria. What a gift they gave to this world, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Who knew, right? Who knew? Let me see. Where are they? Okay, let me get rid of that first. There we go. Lest we should forget, right? And then I'm going to cue the Ginger Avenger, and I will see you all tomorrow. Okay? Love you. See you tomorrow. And remember, I said maybe there won't be a live. We'll see how it goes. But it definitely will be earlier. Okay? But we got to do some maintenance on the Royal Sussex. Otherwise, we're going to start losing track of some of our more important things. Like, for instance, what if this came up missing? I don't want to lose this. This is too much fun. I love this. So, yeah, we got some work to do. Okay, see y'all.